everybody, it's Kat. Welcome back to Midvale Minis. A couple of years ago, I did a video on my Christmas dollhouse. A few of you asked me to do a full-length video on how I made certain things in the dollhouse. So that's what this video is going to be today. So hit pause, go grab a nice beverage, and come back so we can go through the entire dollhouse together.
This is what the house looked like when I first got it. And here are some photographs of each step that I took until I got it finished. I replaced the door and all of the windows, as well as the front railing.
And this is what it looks like now. Here is the window into Santa's workshop. And you can see I made the window boxes. I used little trees and wrapped packages and snowballs. I added some icicles underneath the eaves of the house. I put in the 2 doors instead of the windows. Here is the banister with some snow on it. And here's the front door. The lion knocker on the door has a Santa hat on it, and that is a nod to the musical Scrooge. I made this garland all the way around the door. I added 2 nutcracker sentries, one on each side. I wanted to talk a little bit about the shutters. So I took the original shutters and sanded them and sanded them and sanded them, painted them many times, and then I drew a stencil and cut it out and painted on the Christmas tree. And then I went over it with a clear sort of top coat that has glitter in it so that it has a little bit of a shine to it. Here's another window box underneath that one. I have this lamppost that lights up, and right next to the lamppost is Emmett Otter and his mom. Now, if you've never seen Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, you need to. It is so sweet. If you like the Muppets, if you're a Jim Henson fan, then you'll love Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. Snoopy decorated his doghouse and won an award. And on top of the doghouse is the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And below the Christmas tree is a blue blanket, which is a nod to Linus. We have some beautiful reindeer in the yard. I made this walkway. I used paper coffee carrying trays and I tore them into little pieces and I glued them down, and then I used some chalk pastel and a paintbrush with some water. I painted on this color scheme, which is mirrored up on the chimneys, which I'll show you in a minute, and also inside on the floor in the kitchen and in the fireplace in the living room. Here's a little sign that says, "Welcome to the North Pole," with a penguin. The penguin is a nod to Santa Claus is coming to town, and this is to represent Topper. Here's Santa's mailbox. Ooh, it looks like he's got some unopened mail. And here is Sam the snowman. Here's what he looked like when I first bought him off of eBay. And here's what he looks like now. Again, this is from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So that's what I did to the front of the house. Let's go see what the rest of the house looks like. Here is one of the chimneys. I did it in the same way that I did the walkway. And I put up all the shingles on the roof. I ran out halfway and then I had to paint, and I had to mix different colors and paint them so that it didn't look like a color stopped. Down here, we have our reindeer feeding station. They've got some apples, some carrots, some hay, some corn, all things for the reindeer to eat.
Here's what the interior of the house looked like before I did anything to it. When I first got it, it was loaded with dust and spider webs.
So let's start with the top of the dollhouse. This is Santa's workshop. As you can see, I used this wallpaper. This is by Itsy Bitsy Mini, and there's sort of an up-close picture of it. It's really cute. It's got a whole bunch of brushes and tools and things like that that you might need to be in a workshop situation. I built these in the back. You can see there's 2 shelves. I built them because it's such a weird angle that I built them from scratch just so I could house a few toys in the back. I don't know if you can see all those toys back there and on the other side as well and up at the top. This is where Santa keeps a lot of the toys before he sets out on his Christmas Eve tour. Now this is a very cool lamp. Obviously it is in the shape of a globe, and my friend Karen thought it would be fantastic to have a globe lamp in Santa's workshop. Now a few things in here. You can see Santa's tools. He's got his painter's tape. He's got all kinds of other tools. He's got his Santa mug where I'm sure he's drinking hot cocoa. And he's got all the toys around him. He's been painting. He's got a lot of paint splatter on his smock. And then he has, this is one of his elves. She and the other elf, which is over here, they make a lot of the toys to Santa's specifications. One of the little Easter eggs for my family is this little chicken right here. My brother, when he was a small child, he had this exact chicken as a toy. It's a pull toy, and I couldn't believe I found it in miniature. So they have all of their tools here. There's a bucket of coal, just in case he needs that for some children. You can see they've done a lot of paint. There's a lot of paint splatter down on the ground. I had fun messing up the floor. I took a woodworking class in miniature, and everybody was using a lathe. And I asked them all if they were going to be using their wood shavings, and they said no. So I ended up taking all of the wood shavings from the class, and you can see the plane on Santa's desk right there. There's more wood shavings there. There are finished and wrapped presents here, some more rolls of twine over there, various toys in progress, wrapping paper back there, all kinds of lovely things. And this is Santa's workshop. Okay, let's go down to the dining room. Okay, so here we have Mrs. Claus relaxing, looking at her beautiful set of dishes, Reuter porcelain. She's got her glass there and she's looking at her beautiful dishes. She's already set the table, and the turkey's on the table, and we've got a gravy boat and all kinds of things on the table ready to go. And I made the garland on the fireplace. Obviously you can see it's a working fireplace. And then above the fireplace, I have a mirror and I have a little scene. Mrs. Claus is Santa's biggest fan, so she's got a lot of Santa things. Her dishes have Santa on them. So she's a really big Santa fan. Now I also have Easter eggs in this. I have little homages to my favorite holiday movies. That is the Santa from Miracle on 34th Street. And there you can see, there is the picture of the ride, his ride on Christmas Eve, and several cakes. And over here, I have a beautiful cake made by Jeannie Anderson. And I have this painting, which I have to hang up. Look at this painting. It was made by a local New Jersey artist named Tom Schottman. I have another fantastic painting of his, and I will show that to you when I get to my Downton Abbey house. Look at how awesome this is. I actually made those beams and installed them myself. Those are made out of balsa wood. It was really fun aging them and putting little divots in them to make them look like they had been hand hewn. And then I just glued them right up there. They look like they've been there for a very long time. Now we're moving over to the bedroom. You can see that I put the hand-hewn beams in here as well. And I also made paper chains to put on them. I used little pieces of toothpick to look like pegs to hold the paper chains. There are a couple of little Easter eggs in this room as well. For starters, it's pretty obvious, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I have a pattern for this, and I stitched this as a pillow for Santa's bed. On the bed, I have this box. I have Little Nero's Pizza. And this is from Home Alone, when he gets his own cheese pizza and nobody bothers him. And I have this box of Twinkies, which is an homage to Die Hard. I know there's a controversy. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I say yes, it is. Okay, I made this lamp. It came as a kit. I painted the whole thing, and then I decided to do a wash of red, and I love the color that it shows off. I think it looks really cool with the red coloring. In the back, that is Santa and Mrs. Claus at their wedding, and that was from Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That's Chris and Jessica at their wedding, so of course I had to put their wedding photo next to the bed. Over here, I made this mirror because I thought only Santa would have a Christmas tree shaped mirror. So I designed that and cut that out and painted that myself. I replaced the long window with the French doors. On the inside of the doors and windows, I decided to use a metallic lead kind of look. On the outside, it's just painted. If I were to do this again, I probably would not do the lead. I would just paint the whole thing. In front of the double door there, you can see the leg lamp from A Christmas Story. Now, a lot of people ask me why I have a dog with a toaster sitting on the floor of Santa's bedroom. That's not actually a dog. That is actually a hedgehog. If you've ever seen the movie Scrooged with Bill Murray, there's a scene where the ghost of Christmas Present, Carol Kane, hits him over the head with a toaster, and while she's saying that, she's trying to get him to relax. She says literally, "Oh look, there's Mr. Hedgehog." So of course I had to get Mr. Hedgehog, and I had to put a toaster next to him. Now on the floor you will see DVDs. So all of these are my favorite movies. So there's Home Alone, Home Alone 2, Rudolph, Scrooged, A Christmas Carol, several versions. I made my own DVD player, as you can see on the left. I did make my own remote control, but it has unfortunately gotten lost. So I guess I would have to make another one. I did braid this rug myself as well. Down here in the corner, you will see a little mouse with a Santa hat. That is an homage to one of my favorite books growing up called Santa Mouse. I did not make the mouse, but I did make the Santa hat and put it on him. Okay, now we're down to the living room. And this one has a lot of Easter eggs in it. For starters, on the Christmas tree, I don't know if you can see it at the very tippity top, there is a turtle dove. Actually, there's a pair of them. That is a nod to Home Alone 2. Next to that, you see a merry-go-round. I bought that online on eBay, and I repainted the entire thing and added some gold trim to make it really look pretty. That is a nod to Scrooge the Musical with Albert Finney, which is probably my favorite Christmas movie. It's my favorite musical. Let's put it that way. Okay, so let's look at this fireplace for a second. For starters, there's a cane leaning against the fireplace. That is a nod to A Miracle on 34th Street. I made the fireplace myself. I used the same kind of technique that I did on the walkway outside and the chimneys and the kitchen floor as well. I did put some extra soot on it to make it look a little bit more used. Also, I created the mantle out of balsa wood and I added the pegs in. This time I used some teeny tiny little nails, and those are handmade stockings, not by me, but they're a lovely lady named Shirley makes those stockings. Did you ever have these type of trees in your house long time ago where they light up? They're little ceramic trees with multicolored lights in them. I have those in real life that my mother and my grandmother had made oh so many years ago. Okay, so now we come down to here. This is just some decoration. I used a sleigh. In my real house, I actually have a sleigh as my coffee table. Over here you can see I collect bears, so I have a couple of Christmas bears sitting on the couch. Here's another one sitting on the chair. I found this image online and I shrank it down and framed it and glued it to the wall because I loved it so much. This is another lamp that has the holly print to it. I have another one over here, and there's another one in the dining room as well. Now this right here is a knight on his horse. Now this is you'd have to really know the movie well. This is a nod to White Christmas. At the end of the movie, hopefully I'm not giving this away too much, but at the end of the movie, she gives him a little statue of a knight riding a horse. And that's what this is to represent. This is a French knot rug. I did not make this, although I do make French knot items, but I loved it so much. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Let's take this out and show you. Look at that. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. I love it so much. So I don't actually know who made it, but I think they did a fantastic job. And of course, it's Santa, so it had to be in my house. I wanted to talk a little bit about my flooring here. This is actually paper. I got this paper at Joann's, and I'm so sad that Joann's is gone. I loved that shop. When they went out of business, I did actually go in and I found more of this paper, and so I bought as much of it as I possibly could because it makes excellent 1/12 scale wide plank floors. I have them here and in the bedroom and in the dining room. Also in this room, I have this gun, which is to represent the Red Ryder BB gun as seen in A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out. I love that movie. Next, down here, I have a little basket, and in it, I have bread, that this house may never know hunger, salt for the flavor, and wine for prosperity. And this is a nod to It's a Wonderful Life. This is what they give to Martini when he goes to his new home. This is an homage to Rudolph with Yukon Cornelius and his pickaxe. This picture right here is a picture of Alistair Sim, and it's one of the only scenes where he's laughing. It's at the end of the movie where he talks to Mrs. Dilber and he gives her some money and he says to her, "Do you know what this is for?" And she says, "For keeping me mouth shut." And he laughs hysterically. That's when this scene was. So he goes there. These little tiny houses were made by Mary Grady O'Brien. And this, I have several little Santa items. This was made by Barbara Hill. This is a handmade, not by me. This is a handmade Christmas cactus. I handmade that tree from scratch, and then I decorated it and I added the lights and everything else. I love this room. It just makes me so happy. So let's go to the last room of the house. Okay, here we are in the kitchen. I made this floor exactly the same way as I made the walkways and the fireplace and the chimneys. It was a very time-consuming process, but I absolutely love how it came out. Well, it actually kind of really looks like my own stone floor in my home. That's kind of what I modeled it after, but I love the effect. Over here, I have a Jane Graber butter churn with a reindeer on it. Mrs. Claus is making cookies, and she's got some potatoes on the stove, and she's got a cookbook over here. She's making more cookies, but you know, cooking can be very tedious. So she's got her Baileys and her Santa head mug. This is another Jane Graber crock with a reindeer on it. Inside here, I made these spoons. I made several of the spoons. And she's got a bunch of other tools in here that I did not make, but she's got all kinds of things she's making here. She's got candies. She's got a cake with Rudolph's face on it. This is, I believe, another Jane Graber piece of pottery. I absolutely love Jane Graber. And here you can see I stumbled upon a working thermometer. And of course, I had to put the Miser brothers in here, right? So when it gets really hot in the kitchen, you go towards Heat Miser. And when it gets cold in the kitchen, you go to Snow Miser. And I even put a little snowball right there. Because Mrs. Claus is such a Santa fan, she, and by she I mean me, painted this picture that says "Believe" on it. You can see she's making cookies over there. I've got a little pantry shelf with items in it to help her cook things. And then here, if you can see that, I'll zoom in. Right here, I've got Lifebuoy soap, which of course goes back to A Christmas Story. This piece is made by Bubba's Minis. It's a very nice handmade piece, and I've got some Christmas dishes in there and some glassware. And that is about it. And there is my Christmas house. I hope you enjoyed the tour and seeing in depth what I made in each room. Thank you so much for joining me on this tour of my dollhouse. Thank you so much to my subscribers. I'm overwhelmed by how kind and wonderful you are. I look forward to all the projects that we're going to work on together in 2026. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful holiday with your friends and family, and that you have a healthy, safe, and happy new year. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you in 2026. Bye.